Okay, this one is going to be about DNA. If you can understand what DNA is, and um, it can really change the way you perceive reality and how we're creating things. And there's a lot of science. I'm not going to give you the references because I've done so much research over 51 years. This started from the time I was a kid, and I never kept notes. um, but you can check out Bruce Lipton is saying a great deal about DNA. Um, Dr. Vernon Wolf on holodynamics is there's bits in there on aspects of this stuff, not specifically DNA. Um, just do some research on some of the terminologies I may speak about, peptides and proteins. Um, and you can also kind of get a little bit of information from watching a film called What the Bleep Do You Know? But there's an awful lot of science out there, so do your research. Um, I'm pretty sure that my life purpose said don't keep notes because I'm not supposed to give you, a long list of here, study that, because it'd be like putting together a university course and it's a hell of a lot of work. And you need to find your own answers. You need to see it for yourself through your own research. But I'll give you the information that I've come to learn. And basically, what I find is some of these sciences are so technical that a lot of us can't really relate to it. So I'll put it in terms that kind of dumb it down to the point where we can understand what's going on with it. But so uh, if you're really, really technical, you can disagree with it, but you can't really disagree with it because I'm using metaphors. And you may argue the metaphor, but you can't argue with that's really what's going on. And we need to sort of dumb things down so all of us can understand it and not just have to take years of university to be able to understand this stuff. So I think that's more of what my purpose is um, I am very logical. Science, I really enjoy sciences, so I kind of understand what it is that I'm reading, but I don't remember names at all. I don't remember terminology at all. Um, there is Alzheimer's in my family tree. I could see how my mother developed it, and I can kind of see that, oh, somebody could probably say I'm having that little bit of a problem, but not really. It's not an illness at all. It's a choice. I choose not to remember some things, and I choose to remember other things, and that's basically what Alzheimer's is you come to a point in time where this just ain't important to remember anymore. Sometimes your life is so hell, or it's just too much for you to handle that it's an easy ticket out to just not remember it. So a lot of people that are developing memory problems, it's like, don't look at it as an illness. Look at it as there's some things you just don't want to remember anymore. There's an aspect of your life that just wants to live it a little bit more simpler. Um, there may be an aspect that you know something, but your brain connections don't have enough information for you to communicate with other people. So you kind of give up and just say, oh, the hell with it, and just lose your mind, basically. But here's how DNA works. Your brain does not think in words and text. It thinks in chemical experiences. Every time you have a thought, your brain has to make a mixture of proteins and peptides for you to experience that thought. And once you have that experience, you put text and words to that experience. And we have EEG machines that can sense that there's an energy going on. there's a spark that goes off in your head every time you have a thought. And what's really going on is your body's making these peptides and proteins and chemicals experiences, and it's like photocopying it with all other chemical experiences that you've had. So technically, if we really had the technology to study DNA, you'll see that when you're first born, your DNA is one thing, but then when you reach the age of 80, your DNA should slightly change. And but I haven't seen anybody actually say that. But technically, that should be going on. And if anybody wanted to do some research, that would be an interesting thing to actually take a look at, because these proteins and peptides are definitely attaching to DNA, and it has to make a change within your DNA. And that is why two parents that have the same DNA and give birth to one child, that child will have DNA of all of the thoughts your mother and father had at that specific time that you were created. Where you can have a brother and sister that, you know, they come from the same parents, they're sharing the exact same DNA mixture, but that DNA from your brother or sister is slightly different from you. And that's because of the time and all of the other experiences that have happened between the time you were born and the time they were born. So every time we're having a thought, we are technically changing our DNA. So, and every time you have that photocopy of that DNA, it goes instantly into every one of your cells, and it makes you who you are. Now, where you don't think you have your control is these chemical experiences that you're having. You're being influenced by the outside world that makes you have a thought, but you also are repeating the same patterns over and over again from your DNA. I'll get into the Mandelbrot set later to talk about patterns, but you are like on cruise control. You tend to think exactly the same way as your parents did. And no matter how much you think you're changing it, you really aren't, because you're addicted to the same types of chemicals. And these same types of chemicals are created because of your belief systems. So you're getting your belief systems from your family's DNA, but you're also watching their behavior and how they react and what their belief systems are through the way they communicate. So you develop the same way as they do. But you can change it just simply by saying, I'm not going to have that experience, and I'm going to choose to feel this. And then you have to work at creating those chemical experiences. I use, to heal myself, I chose to use my drinking water. I put labels on them. There's some science out there that says it does change the molecular structure, but as soon as you drink this water, the molecular structure will be changed to what's in your head. So you have to change what's in your head. So it only works more so by the suggestion that it makes. So every time I have a drink of water, I'm paying attention, even if it's subliminally, it's affecting me suggestively to, oh, wait a minute, you want to feel this instead of that. And then you're making the chemicals to sustain the way you want to experience your life experience. And that's how our DNA can change. That's how you can prevent the illnesses, by paying attention to how you think, the types of chemicals you make, the belief systems you have, which ultimately will result in every disease that you experience. If you don't want those diseases, don't make up those chemicals, don't have those belief systems, and you won't have those diseases. And all diseases can be cured because it's all thought. Everything is curable, but you have to find the cause of it, the belief, the chemicals that are creating those experiences, and you can spontaneously heal yourself if you can spontaneously develop different belief systems that create different chemical experiences which have the power to change your DNA and transform your life and your life experiences. Nutshell.